Hey folks, it's the Comics Kid 2099 here, and like I usually do on Saturdays, today I'm here to talk about an episode of a superhero animated series. Today, I'll be talking about the episode of Batman Beyond titled Out of the Past. If you haven't seen the episode, go do that before I spoil stuff. And if you don't want to watch the episode, then you're in luck because I will quickly sum up the episode before I get into the review itself. Bruce is feeling old on his birthday, and Talia al Ghul comes to tell him that if he wants to, he can use the Lazarus Pit that always kept her terrorist father young, and he can be by her side forever. He reluctantly accepts, but it's a trap, as Talia is actually her father in disguise. Ew. Terry and Bruce team up to defeat her. She gets caught in a nasty explosion. Bruce's age is gradually returning to him, but he doesn't mind. Cue credits. So, this is an episode that sounds really fantastic in premise. We've spent over 2 years watching Terry slowly become a better Batman, but what if someone came along and seriously challenged that? We've already seen Terry decide that the suit does not make him Batman, but what if the original Batman was in prime physical form? That's about the only thing that could really take Terry away from his new role, I think. And although the creators of the series weren't too keen on bringing back a ton of Bruce's rogues gallery for Terry to fight, bringing Ra's into this series is a no-brainer since he was immortal already. So where did this episode go wrong? Unfortunately, it went wrong in a lot of places. Let's first talk about how long the episode is. I'm not a fan of making a two-parter out of a story that doesn't need to be a two-parter, but I'm also not a fan of making what could potentially be a really epic two-parter into just a one-part episode. And I personally feel like that's what happened here. All that stuff about Terry feeling threatened if Bruce is young again, it's mentioned, sure, but it's immediately thrown to the wayside because this episode doesn't have enough time to explore that idea. The whole reason Bruce eventually decides to accept Talia's offer is because he wasn't fast enough or strong enough to save a civilian in danger. But then, after he accepts her offer, she tells Terry that he won't have to worry about giving up being Batman because Bruce will be by her side. What? Then why the devil did he even accept if she's just going to turn him into a trophy husband? Or heck, if you don't want to do the Bruce versus Terry who has the right to wear a costume story, then maybe Talia convinces Bruce to become immortal and help her reform her father's organization into a force for good that could transform the planet into a utopia. Of course, you could still do the reveal that Talia is possessed by her father, but that would at least explain away the inconsistency in Bruce's decision to go through with this. And I feel like making this one a two-parter would have made it a lot easier to have dealt with some of these character inconsistencies. And on a related note, if this episode is going to only be 20 minutes long, then maybe they should have cut down the musical number at the beginning that Terry and Bruce are watching. Yes, it's hilarious, probably one of the funniest things in this series, but with already so much interesting ground to potentially cover, you really don't want the first 3 minutes of your episode to be this opera that Terry and Bruce are watching. This episode also suffers from inconsistency in the villain's motivations. For one, we don't even get any sense of who the bad guy is until over halfway into the episode. Heck, we don't even know there is a bad guy until the last half of the episode. Sure, we know there's going to be one because this is a superhero cartoon and there's always bad guys to punch, but we don't get any sense of who or what the threat is until way too late in the episode. And also, there's a big, huge problem in Ra's wanting to possess Bruce's body to keep on living. Sure, I buy that a dude who's lived that long would want to keep on living. That's fine. And I can even accept that he would sacrifice his daughter to do that based on the things I've seen this character do in the comics and in Batman the Animated Series even. But why does he need Bruce Wayne's body? This episode tries to tell us that that's so that he can use Bruce's wealth to fund his terrorist operations. But Ra's is an international terrorist. He's probably richer than Bruce Wayne anyway. And I get that the episode needs some reason to have Bruce go through the Lazarus Pit, but this motivation of Ra's wanting to possess Bruce's body and use his fortune for evil is really weak. Again, this would have worked better in a two-part episode, but maybe the episode could have skipped the whole Ra's is in Talia's body, which is pretty twisted anyway, and have Talia genuinely want to help Bruce and wants him to help her, and then Ra's comes in all surprise, I'm still alive, and then he tries to take his organization back from his daughter, and Terry and Bruce team up to stop him. That would have been more traditional, sure, but it would have made a heck of a lot more sense than what we got. As is, it's just a really contrived way for the plot to happen in a way that it does. So that's basically all I had to say about this episode. It's one that I really wanted to love, but it just has so many problems. It's hard for me to look at it without wanting to cover it in red ink like a high school English teacher. But what did you guys think of the episode and of my review? If you like this video, I do other videos throughout the week, so be sure to check those out if that's what you're into. And if you did like this video, I do this sort of thing every Saturday. Next week, I'll be talking about an episode of Batman the Animated Series, and the week after that, I'll be tackling Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. So be sure to check those out. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.